television and on social media. Welcome to Zambia's first and finest visual radio, Sun FM TV.
Sometimes life happens, and we all need that extra something to sort things out. Stay ahead, even before payday, with the ABSA salary advance. Get a convenient and quick short-term loan, payable in 3 months at an affordable rate. Get the support you need when you need it, and keep your story going. Call 5950 for more details. Terms and conditions apply. Your story matters. ABSA.
For in-depth news coverage from across Zambia, local and national news, business, politics, and sports, this is the Sun FM News, brought to you by ABSA. Your story matters.
The news.
Thank you for joining us to present the news here on Sun FM Radio and Television. My name is Imelda Chikwati. Government has announced that it has no intention of abolishing the fees charged by the Examinations Council of Zambia, ECZ, for the verification of examination results and certificates. The Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ chairperson Mangala Zalumis, has announced a 15-day extension of the ongoing voter registration exercise, which will now conclude on 26th November 2025. Veteran politician Vernon Mwanga has called for the abolition of parliamentary by-elections, describing them as costly and a burden on the national treasury. Brazil Under-17 head coach Carlos Eduardo Patetuch has described the Zambia Under-17 national team as a strong and powerful side with very competitive strikers. Stay tuned for the details.
Sun FM.
Here now is the news in detail. Government has announced that it has no intention of abolishing the fees charged by the Examinations Council of Zambia, ECZ, for the verification of examination results and certificates. Minister of Education Douglas Yakalima stated that the fees are essential for enhancing data accuracy and confirming the authenticity of academic credentials for institutions both locally and internationally. He emphasized that the measure is critical to sustaining the credibility of Zambia's examination system. Mr. Siakalima explained that the verification fees support the sustainability and integrity of the service, noting that the ECZ has developed a secure ICT platform that provides reliable updates to its examination database. He warned that eliminating the fees could compromise the Council's ability to uphold the integrity of national examinations.
The government currently has no plan to abolish the verification fees charged by the ECZ. So consequently, this part of the question does not arise. Madam Speaker, the verification fees are maintained to ensure the sustainability and integrity of the service. The ECZ has developed an ICT-based verification platform that provides quick, reliable, and secure access to its examination database. To maintain the functionality and security of this system, the Council must continually invest in upgrades, maintenance, and administrative support. Therefore, abolishing the verification fees would compromise the Council's ability to preserve the integrity and the credibility of the national examination system.
He was responding to a question from Kalabo Central MP Chinga Miyutu, who asked why ECZ charges for verification and whether government plans to abolish the fees. The Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, has announced that women constitute the majority of newly registered voters in the ongoing mass voter registration exercise ahead of the 2026 general elections. According to ECZ Chief Electoral Officer Mr. Brown Kasaro, a total of 405,805 women have registered as new voters compared to 352,446 men, based on provisional statistics from phases 1 to 5 of the registration process recorded as of 6th November 2025. The figures exclude data from phase 6, which concludes today. Mr. Kasaro noted that women have outnumbered men in nearly all provinces, with the Copperbelt recording the highest number of female registrants, at 65,465, followed by Southern Province with 53,460 and Eastern Province with 49,673. He further disclosed that the Commission has recorded 758,251 new registrations and 881,206 updates, including voter transfers and card replacements, bringing the total number of registration-related transactions to over 1.6 million.
Of all registration activities, the number of new registrations represents newly added voters. And I will be again giving out that total shortly as I read out the provincial totals. The Commission distinguishes these categories to ensure clarity, accuracy, and transparency in communicating progress to the nation. The following is a provincial outlook for new registrations from phases 1 to 5. Central Province, 73,538.
Meanwhile, ECZ Chairperson Mangala Zalumis has announced a 15-day extension of the voter registration exercise, which will now run until 26th November 2025. She explained that the extension is aimed at giving more eligible citizens the opportunity to register ahead of next year's polls. Ms. Zalumis expressed confidence that the Commission remains on course to meet its target of registering 3.5 million voters.
The information collected from these monitoring missions has provided the Commission with a clear and accurate picture of the registration process on the ground. Following a comprehensive review of these findings, the Commission is satisfied that the obtaining circumstances warrant an extension of the registration period. Having taken into account the field reports, the observed progress, and the remaining number of unregistered eligible citizens, the Commission has decided to extend the voter registration by a period of 15 days.
Veteran politician Vernon Mwanga has called for the abolition of parliamentary by-elections, describing them as costly and a burden on the national treasury. Dr. Mwanga said this during a public submission on the constitutional amendment process before the technical committee, where he emphasized the need for a more cost-effective electoral system. He noted that while the introduction of a running mate has successfully eliminated presidential by-elections and reduced related costs, parliamentary by-elections continue to consume substantial public funds. Dr. Mwanga observed that each time a member of parliament dies, resigns or is expelled from a political party, the Ministry of Finance must allocate significant resources to fund the election, diverting money that could otherwise be used to purchase essential drugs and improve public services. He recalled that previous inter-party dialogues had resisted proposals to eliminate by-elections, with political parties arguing that such polls help them gauge their levels of public support. However, he maintained that this practice is too expensive and unsustainable. Dr. Manga also supported proposals to increase the number of parliamentary constituencies, saying the move would enhance representation and enable members of parliament to effectively reach remote areas. He acknowledged that the current parliamentary chamber may not accommodate a larger number of lawmakers, but expressed optimism that ongoing plans for a new National Assembly building will resolve the issue.
Each time there is a parliamentary by-election, the Minister of Finance has to find money to fund that election. If you have several by-elections as a result of MPs dying or resigning from their parties or being expelled from their parties, it costs government and the taxpayers quite a lot of money. But then, during the inter-party dialogues that we have had in the past, dialogue among political parties, there has been resistance to eliminating by-elections because there is a feeling that when there is a by-election, it enables parties to gauge the levels of support at which they are. And by-election results normally produce some kind of indication to political parties as to where they stand.
Meanwhile, the Technical Committee on Amendments to the Constitution has expressed satisfaction with the level of public participation recorded during the ongoing constitutional amendment consultations in Lusaka. Speaking during a session held at the Kenneth Kaunda Wing, Committee Vice Chairperson and Spokesperson Dr. Landilan Banda commended the productive engagements with the traditional leaders and the increasing turnout of the general public. He emphasized that the range of perspectives shared during the consultations underscores the inclusive nature of the process, which seeks to reflect the aspirations of all Zambians in shaping the country's supreme law. Dr. Banda reaffirmed the committee's dedication to ensuring that every citizen's voice is heard before the consultative meetings conclude on Friday.
Yesterday, as you know, we started with the traditional leaders. So we started the day by paying a courtesy call at the provincial office of Lusaka. We paid a courtesy call on the minister. We also paid a courtesy call on the traditional leaders. And then they started making their submissions. As you would have seen, they made several submissions that were really, really good. So we are very happy that the traditional leaders were able to show up. You did see that there was a level of diversity in the submissions that they made, which is the beauty of this process, that everyone is speaking and making their submissions on the basis of what they really want to see in the constitutional amendment process. So this morning, as you can see, there is a bit of background noise there. It's because the proceedings have started. So today we expect that the members of the public are going to show up. You can see that the room is almost filled already. We are at the KK wing.
The House of Chiefs has raised alarm over the growing number of young girls seen vending along highways during school hours, a trend it attributes to parents sending children to sell assorted merchandise instead of attending school. House of Chiefs Chairperson Chief Jongo described the practice as deeply concerning, warning that it exposes girls to gender-based violence, sexual harassment, and other harmful vices. Speaking during a media briefing, Chief Jongo urged parents and guardians to prioritize education by ensuring that children are in school, learning and thriving. He called on families to take full advantage of the free education policy introduced by President Hakainde Hichilema, cautioning against actions that deprive children of their right to education. The traditional leader further appealed to Zambians to support ongoing efforts by chiefs across the country to eliminate barriers to school attendance, including the use of children in farming and other labor-intensive activities during school time.
Enroll their children in school. Education is a fundamental right, and it is our collective responsibility to ensure that every child in our community benefits from this opportunity. Most importantly, as the country embarks on the farming season, which calls for labor to till land, start shepherding animals, collection of wild fruits and caterpillars, gardening, among other farming activities. I want to appeal to all parents, guardians, and citizens in general to free school-going children from farming and household chores.
Chifubu Member of Parliament Lloyd Lubosha has highlighted the urgent need for expanded healthcare infrastructure in Chifubu constituency, noting that the 3 existing facilities, some over 60 years old, have long been inadequate for the area's growing population. Mr. Lubosha made the remarks during the commissioning of the newly constructed Chifubu Clinic and Maternity Annex in Ndola, where he served as guest of honor. The 2 facilities were built at a cost of nearly 4 million kwacha under the 2022-2023 Constituency Development Fund (CDF), which also covered medical equipment for both sites. Meanwhile, Ndola District Commissioner Precious Njekwa, who attended the event as a special guest, urged health personnel at the new facilities to uphold high standards of care, with a particular attention to maternal health services.
A tune of about 4 million kwacha has been spent to construct the new Chifubu Clinic and Maternity Annex, dubbed as the Mutambala Clinic in Ndola's Chifubu constituency. The 2 facilities, housed within 1 yard, have been recommended for decongesting the existing 3 health facilities. Guest of honor at the commissioning of the health facilities, Lloyd Lubosha, appreciated the President for the Enhanced Constituency Development Fund (CDF), saying it is an economic boom and an improvement to human lives.
CDF has become a special purpose vehicle for the distribution of the national cake in all constituencies equally, evenly, without any discrimination at all. And we stand appreciative to His Excellency the President for this job well done. Indeed, District Commissioner, I wish to inform you that the clinic that we have built here is going to offer health service to the people of Chifubu constituency. It is also going to alleviate the challenges of congestion in the limited health facilities that we had.
Ndola District Commissioner Precious Njekwa expressed satisfaction with the development, urging health practitioners to continue saving lives, particularly maternal health.
Our health workers, please take care of the patients, more especially the mothers, because most of you nurses, your mothers actually. So take care of the mothers as we open.
Ndola Mayor Jones Kariati reviewed how much CDF has been disbursed.
Kundala mashenesha CDF awe na kutuma kushinda tena kipendo ichileza kulia 85% in all the constituencies.
Head of the District Health Office, Dr. Lilian Inyendwa, ably represented the Ministry of Health.
May I also mention that this facility, both the outpatient department and the maternity annexes are coming fully equipped. Equipment is another critical component of quality service delivery, and we are very grateful that this facility is coming fully equipped.
The project has been completed under the 2022-2023 Constituency Development Fund, including the provision of equipment. Reporting for Sun FM Radio and TV, I'm Cletus Mutoki in Ndola.
United Party for National Development UPND Secretary General Batuke Imenda has called on citizens on the Copperbelt to reflect on the developmental strides made by President Hakainde Hichilema and his administration since assuming office in 2021. Speaking during a press briefing following the recent incident in which the head of state was stunned in Chingola, Mr. Imenda expressed deep concern over the attack, describing it as unacceptable and counterproductive. He highlighted key achievements in the province, including the reopening of previously closed mines and the construction of water and road infrastructure as evidence of the government's commitment to economic and social progress. Mr. Imenda urged Zambians to embrace dialogue and peaceful engagement, warning that acts of violence and unrest risk undermining investor confidence and reversing the gains made under the UPND government. He further encouraged citizens to safeguard the economic progress recorded thus far and reiterated the party's stance against cadreism. Mr. Imenda emphasized that any individuals found engaging in lawlessness would be held accountable independently of the party.
Loss of lives. A demonstration of his passion and visionary leadership. The UPND therefore condemns in the strongest terms the recent riots and the vandalism in Chingola. Violence is not and will never be a solution. It only destroys the opportunities that the government and the private investors are working hard to create for the people. To that end, acquiring wealth through disorder and the opportunism will only help to destroy this country and take it back to the bad old days.
The Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has commended traditional leaders and cultural associations for their collective efforts in restoring order and discipline in the conduct of Mukanda traditional ceremonies in Livingstone. Permanent Secretary for Administration Mainga Kabika noted that when properly upheld, cultural practices contribute positively to the social and economic fabric of society. She expressed concern over the past misuse of the Mukanda initiation ceremony, which had led to antisocial behavior such as substance abuse, early pregnancies, violence, property grabbing, and the emergence of youth gangs. The PS also urged law enforcement agencies to ensure that individuals who violate the newly established guidelines face appropriate legal consequences to deter further abuse. She thanked traditional leaders for their role in guiding communities toward peaceful and lawful cultural observance and commended former initiation camp organizers for acknowledging past mistakes and collaborating with authorities to find sustainable solutions.
The collective resolutions that have been agreed upon will be enforced to safeguard the plight of the important practice and will ensure that no one will turn the traditional practice into fundraising venture. The aspiration of the government is to ensure the preservation of all cultural practices in their original format, as it is an identity for all citizens. I wish to employ the law enforcers to ensure that everyone who violates these guidelines face the law to deter others from using such rich culture to perpetrate criminal vices.
We return with the sports news on the other side of this break.
Win namamuli 1 million na ABSA. Play your cards right, Muntu Andy, and you could win big. Simply tap or swipe any of your ABSA cards 5 times in a month, and you could be one of 10 lucky winners to take home a cheap 10-pin in monthly prizes or walk away with a grand prize of 250,000 kwacha. Chaliroku, and you cannot afford to not get lucky. Use your ABSA card to enter the draw. Terms and conditions apply. Your story matters. ABSA.
Brazil under-17 head coach Carlos Eduardo Patetucci has described the Zambia under-17 national team as a strong and formidable side with highly competitive strikers. Speaking during a post-match interview following Brazil's 1-0 draw with Zambia at the ongoing FIFA Under-17 World Cup in Qatar, Patetucci acknowledged that young Chipolopolo gave his team a tough challenge, commending their intensity and tactical discipline. He noted that Brazil improved significantly in the second half, creating multiple scoring opportunities and could have secured a win. Brazil concluded the group stage unbeaten, scoring 12 goals and conceding just one, successively topping Group H. Patetucci stated that his team had achieved its initial objective of winning the group and would now shift focus to the knockout stage. He also expressed confidence in Zambia's potential to reach the final, praising head coach Dennis Makinka's leadership. Zambia finished the group stage and defeated, registering victories over Indonesia 3-1 and Honduras 5-2, and securing a statement draw against Brazil 1-1. The team scored 9 goals and conceded 4, marking an impressive run in Group H. In other sports news, the Zambian Premier League ZPL has announced the conclusion of Eden University's sponsorship of the Women's Super League, citing financial constraints as the reason for the early termination. Eden University had entered a 3-year, 3 million kwacha agreement with the ZPL beginning 1st August 2024, originally set to run until 31st July 2027. However, following a review of the partnership, the university has opted to withdraw its support with immediate effect. In a statement issued by ZPL Head of Communications, Christina Zulu, the league expressed deep appreciation to Eden University for its contribution to the growth of women's football in Zambia. The sponsorship was credited with elevating the league and creating opportunities for female athletes nationwide. ZPL reaffirmed its commitment to sustaining the progress achieved in the women's game and revealed that efforts are underway to engage new partners who share the vision of empowering women through sport. The league also called on the corporate community to support the Women's Super League and join other stakeholders in advancing gender equity in football. To end the news, the headlines once again. Government has announced that it has no intention of abolishing the fees charged by the Examinations Council of Zambia for the verification of examination results and certificates. The Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ chairperson Mwangala Zalomis has announced a 15-day extension of the ongoing voter registration exercise, which will now conclude on 26th November 2025. Veteran politician Vernon Mwanga has called for the abolition of parliamentary by-elections, describing them as costly and a burden on the national treasury. Brazil under-17 head coach Carlos Eduardo Patetucci has described the Zambia under-17 national team as a strong and powerful side with very competitive strikers. ends the news. Thank you so much for listening and watching. My name is Imelda Chkwati.
Sun FM.
A comprehensive coverage of local and national news, business, politics, and sports. The Sun FM News was brought to you by ABSA. Your story matters.
Sometimes life happens, and we all need that